Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajaka Ashtottara Sati Srimad AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundigiri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamana Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Gaur.
Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj. And thank you everyone for being here for Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Monday, January 30th, 2023 in New York, a day later in Vrindavan. And we are reading in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in the appearance of Lord Varaha, which is chapter 13, starting tonight with text number 40. And very much looking forward to hearing your comments and questions. And if you'd like to lead tonight's closing kirtan, please do so. And we're glad you could be with us, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Akendra Prabhu. And thank you to all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tamstragra Kotya Bhagavam Strayadrita Virajate Bhudara Pusabhudara Yatavana Nissarato Datadrita Matanga Jendrasya Sapatra Padmani. O lifter of the earth with its mountains, which you have lifted with your tusks, is situated as beautifully as a lotus flower with leaves, sustained by an infuriated elephant just coming out of the water. Purport. The fortune of the earth planet is praised because of its being specifically sustained by the Lord. Its beauty is appreciated and compared to that of a lotus flower situated on the trunk of an elephant. As a lotus flower with leaves is very beautifully situated, so the world, with its many beautiful mountains, appeared on the tusks of the Lord boar. We can continue unless there's some questions. Shaimayam rupam idam shasokaram humandalenata tatadritena te chakasti shringodka kanena bhuyasa kulachalendrasya yataiva vibrama. O Lord, as the peaks of great mountains become beautiful when decorated with clouds, your transcendental body has become beautiful because of your lifting the earth on the edge of your tusks. Purport. The word vibrama is significant. Vibrama means illusion as well as beauty. When a cloud rests on the peak of a great mountain, it appears to be sustained by the mountain. And at the same time, it looks very beautiful. Similarly, the Lord has no need to sustain the earth on his tusks. But when he does so, the world becomes beautiful, just as the Lord becomes more beautiful because of his pure devotees on the earth. Although the Lord is the transcendental personification of the Vedic hymns, he has become more beautiful because of his appearance to sustain the earth. Om Jnana Timirantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurn Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Pradijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lolita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the sages from the higher planetary systems are glorifying the born incarnation of the Lord. And they praise the Lord for lifting the earth. The Lord looks very beautiful with the earth on his tusks, and the earth looks very beautiful, sustained by the Lord. So the comparison is drawn that the Lord beautifies those with whom he associates, and the association of the devotees also beautifies the transcendental qualities, pastimes, and so on of the Lord. Anything here so far? Okay. Samstapayainam jagatam tashtusham lokaya patnim asimataram pita vidhema chasyai namasa sahatvaya yasyam svate jognim ivaranav atha. O Lord, for the residential purposes of all inhabitants, both moving and non-moving, this earth is your wife, and you are the Supreme Father. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you, along with Mother Earth, in whom you have invested your own potency, just as an expert sacrificer puts fire in the burning wood. Purport: the so-called law of gravitation, which sustains the planets, is described herein as the potency of the Lord. This potency is invested by the Lord in the way that an expert sacrificial Brahmin puts fire in the Arani wood by the potency of Vedic mantras. By this arrangement, the world becomes habitable for both the moving and non-moving creatures. The conditioned souls, who are residents of the material world, are put in the womb of Mother Earth in the same way the seed of a child is put by the father in the womb of the mother. This conception of the Lord and the earth as father and mother is explained in the Bhagavad Gita 14:4. Tasam Brahma Mahadyonir Aham Bija Pradapita. Conditioned souls are devoted to the motherland in which they take their birth, but they do not know their father. The mother is not independent in producing children. Similarly, material nature cannot produce living creatures unless in contact with the Supreme Father, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us to offer obeisances unto the mother along with the Father, the Supreme Lord, because it is the Father only who impregnates the mother with all energies for the sustenance and maintenance of all living beings, both moving and non-moving. It's become a trend over the past, in this decade and the last, to be very much concerned about the earth, to express our respect for Mother Earth, to acknowledge our dependency, our relationship with Mother Earth. But too often we neglect the Father. I've related before that Srila Prabhupada was once challenged in Bombay. Can you prove that there is God by logic? And Prabhupada said that there's a Mother Earth, and there are children, the living entities, and therefore there must be a Father. So Krishna claims in the Bhagavad Gita to be the Father of all living entities. And we understand that there must be a Father. Matter on its own doesn't produce life. And Srila Prabhupada was so keen on this point. For this, he organized or inspired the Bhaktivedanta Institute. And in his last days, they held a conference here in Vrindavan on this point, that life proceeds from life. All right. Anything else here? Yes, Kendra Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yes, I was appreciating the analogy Prabhupada's making here, that the potency of gravitation is invested in the planets the same way an expert Brahmana puts fire in the Arani wood with mantras. That sounds very fascinating. I don't know that science, but I was wondering if that's something that you could comment on at all.
Well, I don't know the science either. It's part of the sacrificial performance. They wouldn't light the fire with matches, but the mantras were chanted, which would invest the wood with the potency, and the fire would come. So I don't know much more about it than that, which mantras to chant, how to chant them, and so on. But the idea is that the Brahmin invests spirit, a kind of potency into the wood, and then the fire can come out. Many other analogies are given. There's butter within milk, you don't see it, but the butter is there. So in the same way, spirit is there. And without that touch of spirit given by the Lord, matter can't do anything. About gravity in the Bhagavad Gita, Gama Vishachaputani, Taryam Yaham Mojasa. The Lord himself claims to be the force of gravitation that sustains all the planets. If we look at the laws that govern the cosmos, those mysterious laws explored by physicists, astrophysicists, and so on, we always have to ask where they come from. When there's laws, there has to be a source for the law, regularity, whatever you want to call it. There has to be a reason behind it. Otherwise, we're being unreasonable. So the Lord is the ultimate reason, the ultimate cause for everything. Sarvakara Karani. And that one has to see. Otherwise, the materialists, they're so focused on Mother Earth and the environment and all of that, but they're not looking at the ultimate source, the ultimate cause, the ultimate sustainer. Their whatever they do will ultimately be a failure, both in terms of their campaigns for saving the earth and for their own lives. All right, anything else?
Oh, I was just
Thank you for
remembering.
that.
Thank you very much. Many years ago, I think it might have been in the early days of what they call it, Earth Day. I think you came out with a statement: "Save Earth now for what? Your sense gratification."
I'm not sure that was me, but yes, we saw that. We went to maybe the first Earth Day festival in San Diego, and it was just another excuse for selling hot dogs and whatever else. So a program for sense gratification in the name of Mother Earth. I attended another program. It was a lecture by John Woolsey, the former head of the Central Intelligence Agency at Princeton University. I happened to be in Princeton. He happened to be speaking. So I thought, all right, let me hear. And he also was speaking on Earth Day. And he gave a sort of Al Gore presentation about reducing our dependency on fossil fuels. But his main theme was how we had to be strong in combating radical, fundamentalist, extremist, theocratic regimes. That is to say, justifying America's invasion of Afghanistan for the sake of geopolitical advantage and accumulation of resources. So, everything goes on in the name of Earth. And the concept is that it's for us, it's our Earth. It's ultimately, as you said, for our sense gratification. There was a World's Fair in Montreal. I remember it not because I attended, but because they sent a request to New York for paintings from Jayadvaita. And the theme of the fair was Man and His World. So, no, it's Krishna's world, not our world. I see there's a comment here. Krishna is the Father, Saraswati says, but in some prayers, the devotee appeals to the maternal side that Krishna also has for forgiveness, since a mother is always ready to forgive all her children, even if they are deviants. Yes, in the Bhagavad Gita, Mata Tata Pitama, the Lord says, I'm the mother, I'm the father, I'm the grandfather. He occupies every position. He's the ultimate well-wisher, and all the qualities of a father, a mother, a grandfather are all there wrapped up in Krishna. So Uddhava prayed, to whom else should I surrender but Krishna, who's so kind that he even gave liberation to Putana witch and awarded her a position like his own mother. So this is Krishna, the ultimate kind person. All right. Rashradhati Tanya Tamastava Prabho Rasam Gataya Bhuva Udvibarhanam Avismayo Sa Trayavishva Vismaye Yomaya Yedam Sasrijay Tivismayam. Who else but you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could deliver the earth from the water? It is not very wonderful for you, however, because you acted most wonderfully in the creation of the universe by your energy. You have created this wonderful cosmic manifestation. In the Sanskrit, we find Vismaya, Vismaye, and Ati Vismaya, wonderful, and surpassing all wonders. When a scientist discovers something impressive to the ignorant mass of people, the common man, without inquiry, accepts such a discovery as wonderful. But the intelligent man is not struck with wonder by such discoveries. He gives all credit to the person who created the wonderful brain of the scientist. A common man is also struck with wonder by the wonderful action of material nature, and he gives all credit to the cosmic manifestation. The learned Krishna-conscious person, however, knows well that behind the cosmic manifestation is the brain of Krishna, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Since Krishna can direct the wonderful cosmic manifestation, it is not at all wonderful for him to assume the gigantic form of a boar and thus deliver the earth from the mire of the water. A devotee is therefore not astonished to see the wonderful boar, because he knows that the Lord is able to act far more wonderfully by his potencies, which are inconceivable to the brain of even the most erudite scientist. This is Krishna. And it's simply wonderful. The personality of Godhead is ultimate. We think the scientist is wonderful, the flower or the rainbow or what have you is wonderful. But ultimately it's Krishna who's wonderful because he's the source of everything. Any comments or questions here? Vismita means astonishingly wonderful. Yes, Vikendra Prabhu.
Maharaj, I was wondering, as we've been reading these verses, I don't recall there being a reason for the earth to have been sunk down into the Garbhodaka ocean. Do you recall that reason is given somewhere?
There's no reason given here. Someplace, I think it may be easy journey to other planets, or it may be someplace else. Srila Prabhupada attributed it to drilling the earth, like setting the earth off balance but that wouldn't have made. No, I don't remember more than that. Somehow it was attributed to demonic activities that set the earth off balance. Hiranyaksha, of course, comes into the picture later because the two boar incarnations are described together. And we'll see if in the purports there probably make some mention of that. But Tulsi Priya says mining. Yeah, that's what I remember, something about their setting things off balance, but I don't remember more particularly than that. Even if the earth stays in its proper place, the demons make a mess. And therefore Krishna has to come, or Krishna consents to come from time to time. Dharma samsthapanartai. To see that the dharma, another meaning of dharma has to do with sustaining. So Krishna from time to time comes to see that things are properly sustained, and especially that the principles of spiritual progress are kept going. And Mina says taking oil out is a problem. Now, yeah, basically the scientists who are glorified for their great brains are being given demonic intelligence, Matasmitra Gyanam Apohanam Maya Pritagana. And so they create things, Prabhavantu Ugra Karmana, Shayaya Jagato Hita, things that will be destructive for the world. That will, yes, nasty enterprises. So we see they've ruined most of the rivers on the face of the planet. Every day, the weather app tells me that the air is basically unfit to breathe, and in so many other ways. What is there? There's water, there's air. The earth they poison with their petrochemicals. Earth, water, air. So far, they don't seem to have messed up the fire. Too subtle for them. Although air's more subtle. But anyway, I don't know what they might be doing with fire except creating fiery weapons. So anyway, Uga Karmana, nasty activities. This is the business of the demons. And so when it got too nasty, the Lord came and lifted the earth so that we could see. Okay. And we'll see you again come upon some explanation as we read on. Vidhunvata vasino vayam Sharta Shikodhuta Shivam Bhupindu Pir Vimrijyamana Vishamisha Pavitaha. O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are inhabitants of the most pious planets, the Jana, Tapas, and Satyalokas. But still, we have been purified by the drops of water sprinkled from your shoulder hairs by the shaking of your body. Purport. Ordinarily, the body of a hog is considered impure, but one should not consider that the hog incarnation assumed by the Lord is also impure. That form of the Lord is the personified Vedas and is transcendental. The inhabitants of the Jana, Tapas, and Satyalokas are the most pious persons in the material world. But because those planets are situated in the material world, there are so many material impurities there also. Therefore, when the drops of water from the tips of the Lord's shoulder hairs were sprinkled upon the bodies of the inhabitants of the higher planets, they felt purified. The Ganges water is pure because of its emanating from the toe of the Lord. And there's no difference between the water emanating from the toe and that from the tips of the hair on the shoulder of Lord Bor. They are both absolute and transcendental. So these are the inhabitants of the highest planetary systems above Svargaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. They're exceedingly pure, but they felt purified by the water coming from the hairs on the body of Lord Bor. we've seen, especially, well, I haven't seen a hog in Vrindavan in years. I don't know where they've all gone. It used to be that you'd always see them. Now everything's been built up. But in any case, a characteristic movement of a hog, a boar, is to shake its body in such a way that the bristles along its spine shake. And if the hog has been down in the muck, as they so often are, then it's spreading this sort of dirty water, dirty, first of all, from where the hog has been, and then from the hog's body itself. So you get this dirty water and splattered on your cloth, and it's awful, contaminating. So here, the Lord is exhibiting the same behavior, shaking his body and spreading water from the bristles on his body. And yet the sages who are the most pure are saying we're becoming purified. So the same thing that is contaminated on the material platform, when performed by the incarnation of the Lord, or performed by the Lord when he appears in this world, is on the transcendental platform. The same thing that would have been contaminating becomes purifying. Any questions or comments here?
Maharaj, I was just looking at Srila Vishwanath's, or the translation of Srila Vishwanath's commentary, and he says that it's astonishing for us, the sages are saying, on the pretext of the earth falling into the water, you've been merciful to us. So when he says that on the pretext of the earth falling into the water, it makes me think that this pastime of Lord Varaha is something similar to other Leelas where the Lord has the desire to behave in a certain way, and something happens in the material universe to instigate that appearance.
Yeah, it all fits together. The Lord, as the tortoise, has an itch that he wants scratched, and that coincides with the need to have the ocean churned. So these things all mesh. Yes, thank you. Savaivata prashta matista vaishate yakarmanam param apada karmana sadyoga maya guna yoga mohitam vishvang samastang bhagavan vidhehi. O Lord, there's no limit to your wonderful activities. Anyone who desires to know the limit of your activities is certainly nonsensical. Everyone in this world is conditioned by the powerful mystic potencies. Please bestow your causeless mercy upon these conditioned souls. So we see in the Sanskrit the param apara karma. There's no limit for the person who has unlimited activities. Mental speculators who want to understand the limit of the unlimited are certainly nonsensical. Every one of them is captivated by the external potencies of the Lord. The best thing for them is to surrender unto him, knowing him to be inconceivable, for thus they can receive his causeless mercy. This prayer was offered by the inhabitants of the higher planetary systems, namely the Jana, Tapas, and Satyalokas, who are far more intelligent and powerful than humans. So the human beings should acknowledge that they can't understand the limits of the unlimited, and they should surrender. That's possible only for a fortunate person. Namam dushpita namuta prapadyante. Those who are duskriti, full of stubbornness and sinful activities, refuse to surrender. And therefore, maya pratagyan, their knowledge is stolen by illusion. Vishram Samastam is very significant here. There are the material world and the spiritual world. The sages pray, both worlds are bewildered by your different energies. Those who are in the spiritual world are absorbed in your loving service, forgetting themselves and you also. And those in the material world are absorbed in material sense gratification and therefore also forget you. No one can know you because you are unlimited. It is best not to try to know you by unnecessary mental speculation. Rather, kindly bless us so that we can worship you with causeless devotional service. In the spiritual world, everyone is bewildered by Yogamaya, and in the material world, bewildered by Mahamaya. The devotees are bewildered by Yogamaya, merged in your sweetness. The material jivas are bewildered since they're submerged in material happiness and suffering. So by Yogamaya, one forgets that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by Mahamaya, one refuses to acknowledge the personality of Godhead. By Yogamaya, one looks toward Krishna. And by Mahamaya, one turns away from Krishna. Vimukha cheta saindriyarta. Either way, one is enchanted, but the materialists are enchanted by and the devotees by the spiritual energy. The materialists are described here as, designated here as Brashtamatihi. Brashtamati, Prabhupada translates as nonsense. If I recall the original typing by Srila Prabhupada, anyone who desires to know the limit of your activities is certainly a nonsense. Prabhupada put it that way, if I recall. So Brashtamati, those whose intelligence is ruined, they deny the personality of God. And what is the value of their speculations? All right. Yes, Tulsi Priya.
Maharaj, I did a quick search for the cause of the earth falling and found something that was related to what you were saying about Mother Earth as opposed to focusing our attention on God the Father. And there's a discussion with Prabhupada, where it's a devotee says, Hiranyaksha was taking the gold from the earth. Now they are taking the oil. So the oil makes weight in some parts of the globe, no? So when they take it and they put it someplace else, or they convert it in the earth is losing weights in some parts. That is now not going to cause, Prabhupada says, I think I have explained this. Instead of contemplating what will happen to this world, you have got short duration of life, say 50, 60 years. You chant Hare Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. Don't consider what will happen to this world. The nature will take care of it. You don't puzzle your brain with these thoughts. You utilize whatever time you have got in your possession and go back home, back to Godhead. So that kind of covers both things
Nice.
in one statement.
Yeah, where it's Prabhupada's pointing to the misdirected intelligence of the concerned materialists who are all worried about the fate of the earth, but they're not worried about their own fate. They're not worried about they're not worried about their having to travel from one lifetime to the next, to the next, to the next. They're thinking how to save the earth when they can't even save themselves. The Kendra says, forgetting themselves in you also would then refer to Krishna's position, not his personality, correct? Yes, the devotees in the spiritual world can never forget Krishna, but they can very easily forget that he's the supreme personality of Godhead, at least in Goloka Vrindavan. Yes, that's how I read it. And Prabhupada says, because people will go on with their rascal civilization, natural consequences will be there. And therefore our business is we're not the environmentalists or the proponents, the animal rightists, or the proponents of any other good cause for improving the earth. Our focus is to spread Krishna consciousness, by which everything will be properly balanced. Shall we read one more verse, at least? Maitreya vacha itupasti amano sao muni pir brahmavari pihi shalile swa kurakranta upa tatta vidavanim. The sage Maitreya said, the Lord, being thus worshipped by all the great sages and transcendentalists, touched the earth with his hooves and placed it on the water. Purport: the earth was placed on the water by his inconceivable potency. The Lord is all-powerful, and therefore he can sustain the huge planets either on the water or in the air, as he likes. The tiny human brain cannot conceive how these potencies of the Lord can act. Man can give some vague explanation of the laws by which such phenomena are made possible. But actually, the tiny human brain is unable to conceive of the activities of the Lord, which are therefore called inconceivable. Yet the frog philosophers still try to give some imaginary explanation. So the Lord blessed the earth by touching it with his hooves to be touched by the lotus feet of the Lord, whether he's appearing as Govinda or Varaha, is a blessing for the earth when it personally appears. that is narrated in the 10th canto, how the earth was decorated by the footprints of the Lord. I think that's also mentioned in the first canto, the special blessing of Krishna's lotus feet. But again, the understanding that all the Lord's forms are absolute, to be touched by the hooves of Lord Vord is equally transcendental. There's a comment again from Makendra. Oh no, that's the verse we just read. Okay, let's see.
Saraswati Mata has a question here.
Did I miss this? Oh, there it is. Did Mother Earth state that she can carry and sustain unlimited weight except the sinful action of miscreants, and that the devotees alone are counteracting the abominable activities of non-devotees? I don't remember a statement from the earth specifically like that. There's a statement in regard to the statement made by Boli Maharaj, citing Mother Earth as having said that I can bear any burden except a liar. I can't bear the burden of a liar. And therefore, the Bali Maharaj was unwilling to retract his promise made to the Lord that I'll give you your 3 steps of land. But Prabhupada elsewhere makes this point that the problem is not overpopulation, but overpopulation of demons. The earth, so many people or living entities, but when the demons get going, they become a burden on the earth. They become a burden on the earth. Yes, Kendra Prabhu.
Oh, thank you, Maharaj. When we were reading this verse where it says the earth was placed on the water by his inconceivable potency, of course, Prabhupada goes on to say that because we can't conceive of it, therefore it's called inconceivable. And it's certainly inconceivable to me, especially since this brings up interesting questions of cosmography, because, we hear that the planets are floating in the air also, but here he places it on the water, which is interesting because, and then of course, I can't wait till we get to the 5th canto where the whole thing is described as a disc that's surrounded by water, but here he's just picking it up from the bottom of the ocean, putting it on the water, and that's it.
As I remember, putting the earth, as we read on, we'll find that putting the earth on the water was sort of an interim arrangement. As he was fighting with Hiranyaksha, so we don't want to fight and hold on to the earth at the same time. So we put the earth on the water for a while. Then we dispatch Hiranyaksha, and then the earth can be restored to its proper position. I'm also reminded of Lord Ramchandra. The monkeys are throwing boulders into the ocean, and Lord Ramchandra is floating them by his internal potency. So he can float. What's to speak of boulders? He could float the whole earth. These things are not difficult for the person with unlimited Shakti. All right.
Maharaj, that was a great answer. I was looking. I also had that question, and you explained it very nicely. So he temporarily put that earth on the water, and very good. Thanks.
Well, if you think it was nice, would you be willing to lead kirtan?
Sure, Maharaj. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnu Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Sridhar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Thank you, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu and Krishna Kontia Prabhu. I didn't realize you volunteered for the kirtan, so
Next time.
Future, next time. And thank you to all. Especially thank you, and thank you to everyone. Hare Krishna.
Tomorrow is Ekadashi, Maharaj.
I'll have to look and see what our calendar says.
Yeah, you already started it.
Yeah, we'll see. Whatever day Ekadasi is, we'll speak about at least in part.
All right. Thank you, Maharaj, and thank you everyone for being here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jayadvaita Maharaj ki jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Sankirtan Yagna ki jai.
Sankirtan Yagna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Maharaj.
Shraddha. Thank you, Hare Krishna.